Welcome, the PTR has been updated again already. Can you believe it? Yep, militia is now going back down to 42.5 because 45 seconds is just too much, apparently. I think 45 seconds is fine. 42.5 seconds is still better than the 40 seconds that it currently is. Bash bonus damage has been reduced from 25, 50, 100 down to 25, 40, 55. So a massive change there. So they were whacking up the numbers and now suddenly they've brought it all the way down. Bear in mind that this bash is a 25% chance. No longer the 20, 30, 40% chance. So you've got a 25% chance to do 55 damage, where I think it's 40% chance to do, what, 25 extra damage or something? But obviously, the percentage chance to actually get the bash in the first place is more important. So it almost seems like this bash could end up being worse than actually what it was beforehand. We'll see how that goes. Devotion aura reduced from 346 to 246. This is because a lot of the melee community are panicking about the power of armor. And they're really overdoing it, honestly. I love Neo, but I think he over-exaggerates on just how powerful armor is. And I think a lot of some of the people that he speaks to might think that same way as well. Because I would hands down, swap my devotion aura for your unholy aura or your endurance aura. Not a problem. You want 6 armor, you want 7 armor, you want 8 armor, you can have it. I'll have the movement speed and the free healing, thanks. So, yeah, I think we could go 3, 5, 7 on devotion aura, to be honest. But, you know, I get armor is powerful, but I think they over-exaggerate just how good that is. Priest cast point time reduced from 0.5 to 0.4. That's better. That means they're going to be quicker at actually casting their ability, so less sluggish. Heal cooldown reduced from 1 to 1.1 seconds. Okay. It's a reduction from 1 to 1.1, so I'll take your word for it. Archmage strength per level increased from 1.8 to 2. That I could understand. I was thinking about stuff like that, is changing some of the strength or agility or intelligence heroes and some of the, in quotation mark, weaker heroes. I wouldn't say Archmage is a weaker hero, but the reason why they're doing that for the Archmage is just to give him a little bit more strength, as he's kind of squishy very early on. So that might help him when he reaches level 2 and 3, just to not be quite so squishy. Paladin move speed increased from 290 to 300. Now, I feel like out of all the heroes, this would probably be the least egregious on a Paladin, as opposed to any other hero that could be boosted up to 300 movement speed from 290. Are they going to do it with every single hero? Because ideally, I always wanted them to bump it up to 300. So you've still got Warden or Blade Master or Archmage that move at 320, but all the slow heroes now go 300 instead of the 290. And it was 280 way back in the day. But I feel like they could all be boosted up to 300. I think that's absolutely fine. I don't think that's going to make a monumental difference. And honestly, it will just be more fun. And isn't that better for everyone? And it will also make those more obscure heroes that people don't pick because they pick the Death Knight because he's got the Unholy Aura, because he can move quickly every single time. Now there might be slightly less reason to do it because the other heroes that you can pick are now not going to be as slow. Mana burn range reduced from 300 to 250. That was Remo's suggestion, that one. I quite like that. In an ideal world, I'd like to have Immolation and Mana burn changed into 2 very different spells, or at least an alternate of what they currently are, because the Demon Hunter is still basically an anti-fun hero, at least with those 2 abilities. So reducing the range is a step in making it harder for him to cast it, but it's still a boring spell. Mana Flare max damage reduced. That's fine, because it can spark off like crazy on casters. Mark of the Talon now only requires Adept training. Alright, yeah, that makes sense, because people don't even really research it anyway. That should be the one that lets the Druid of the Talon, when they're in air form, cast Fairy Fire. Nerubian Tower Frost Attack reduced from 5 to 3 on heroes, remains 5 for units. So this is the movement speed, I assume. So that's a really good change. And I think that needs to be done probably for Frost Nova as well. It might actually be done for Frost Nova because they share the same debuff, I believe. But if not, then make it the same for Frost Nova, because again, moving slow is just not particularly fun. So That's good. Dreadlord movement speed increased. Yep. Spirit Walker build time increased. Sure. I think people were concerned about the build time of units being reduced too much, but I'm down for the training to be reduced. Although in this case it's been increased, but I think it's a small increase. It was reduced still from what it previously was before. Tauren build time reduced from 44 to 39 seconds. Now that's interesting. 5 seconds quicker to get Taurens. I had an idea on how to make units that are more obscure, like Chimeras or Taurens, even Frostworms potentially, although those Frostworms are better than Chimeras and Taurens, I think, overall as a unit to have on the board, by making their structure cheaper. So I can't remember exactly how much it costs you to put down a Tauren totem, but I think it's something stupid like 200 lumber. If you just like really reduce the gold and the lumber cost by like 50% on those structures, I think there might be more of an encouragement to build them. Because the way it kind of works for Orc is they have the barracks for the grunts, they have the bestiary for the raiders and the kodos, and they probably have the spirit lodge for the shaman. And they've got the buildings they want. Even if they reach tier 3, do they really want to whack down another building that's going to cost them 200 lumber and 200 gold and then wait 50 seconds for that to build and then wait another 40 plus seconds for a Tauren to come out when they can just have another grunt or something that's going to do pretty much just as good a job? I think that's kind of the issue it is with a lot of Taurens or Chimeras. We don't want to see like mass Taurens or mass Chimeras, so you either whack down the Tauren cost down to 4 food, or just make it so that they can access the building for the unit more quickly and more easily. I would reckon would be a good way to do it, because there's not enough of an incentive, I think, sometimes for that. Firelord Incinerate mana cost reduced from 6 to 3, so now it's half instead of a third. Sure. Lava Split requirement increased from 9 to 13, which it was 15 before. So I guess that's... What was it? 12? Didn't it get knocked down to 15 to 12 though, so now it's going sort of 13. I think things like the lava spawn could be reworked to make the lava spawn weaker but make it cost 90 mana. That's one idea I had, where the lava spawn wouldn't do as much damage, but it would be cheaper and more accessible for the Firelord to put on the board. Therefore it wouldn't overwhelm the player, because it wouldn't be doing so much damage, but at least the Firelord could cast it more than once. Firelord Volcano damage reduced from 150 to 125. They just went halfway in between the 150 and 100. Sure, I haven't really tested it. Crystal Ball moved from level 3 to 2. Crystal Ball moved from permanent to charge drop table. Crystal Ball now has 2 charges. Crystal Ball cooldown removed. I got a tip. I had an idea. A genius idea. A thing called Crystal Owl. It's effectively the Priestess of the Moon's Scout Owl ability. Owl Scout ability. And instead of necessarily having it as a charged item, you could have it as a permanent item, but it's a 60-second cooldown, and it lasts for between 30 to 45 seconds. And it's effectively either level 1 or level 2 Owl Scout. And it can give you like +2 intelligence. +3 intelligence. So it's not a dead item sitting in your inventory. I think an Owl Scout would be a lot more interesting for players to engage with than just a one-time reveal. Ring of Protection +3 removed from the drop table. Too many rings. Claws of Attack +4 increased to +5. That's probably okay. Periapter Vitality gold cost reduced. Yeah, why not? Because it's pretty trash. Frost Armor Slow effect. Cast creeps reduced from 5 to 3. There we go. So we're getting reduction on the slowing obnoxiousness. That's almost a permanent owl. It's broken. You either make the owl slow then to compensate. 30 seconds. It lasts for 30 seconds. It's got a minute cooldown. That's not so bad. It's pretty powerful. But you can keep it as a level 3 item then that way. I just think it's a lot more interesting than having an item that just you click it once and then it's done, like the Goblin Tech Lab reveal. And then this is now the stun being reduced, increased from 222 to 246, and then 123 for heroes. So yeah, that is what it is. Cost increased, immolation reduced. Yeah, that's basically it. So there you go. Some new PTR changes. What do you guys think? Until the next time they change them again. They didn't update the movement speed on all the heroes, just the Paladin and the Dreadlord. So it's specifically two heroes that might want to get a bit more loving. But I feel like you could just generally increase them all to 300 at this point. And I honestly don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Because the Unholy Aura and the Death Knight and the Tauren Chieftain and the Endurance Aura are still stupidly strong. And they're always going to get picked. And the Night Elf units, Night Elf heroes always move stupidly fast as well. So why not just make everyone 300, okay? Cheers.